Today I have opportunity and excited to introduce you to Marian. She's a internal medicine board Marian over 15 years. And she's also a founder of 80/20 Quantum Care. So, right?
Yeah.
um, she's going to talk about insulin resistant and weight loss. So here's Marian.
So yeah, I'm an internal medicine physician and I live in Newport Beach for the past couple of years. Before that, I was in New York City for 12 years. I'm Persian, but I'm from the island of Cyprus. It's a tiny island by Greece. So my whole family still lives there, but I left when I was 17 to kind of start the journey. And yeah, so it's been an interesting journey so far, but um, I think we all have our own little awakening throughout our lifetime, depending on how much you embrace change in your life and how much you don't embrace change in your life. And my own personal journey was I I probably ignored what was right for me for so long that literally I feel like somebody up there was like, what are we going to do with her? She's not listening. Let's just shake her up, completely mess her life so she'll finally start listening. So I'd say about a year and a half ago was when yeah, I think because of all the stressors in my life, especially with work and not living in my purpose, not being in my purpose, kind of forcing things to happen, pushing and pushing and pushing, my health just kept deteriorating and deteriorating and deteriorating. And this is me. I'm like the craziest health freak. I eat everything right. I do everything right. I literally do. Everything is organic, grass fed, grass finished, blah blah blah. I do all of that. But at the end of the day, if your emotional state is in constant stress and fight and flight mode, then all of that beautiful, vibrant food turns into organic stress. It doesn't do you any good. And I think it was by March, I literally just started collapsing at work. Just like that. I couldn't even stand on my own feet. I just started collapsing. I had nothing left. I literally had nothing left. And yeah, and that led to a lot of health breakdowns. My hormonal system got messed up, my adrenals got messed up. I ended up having a fungal infection in my blood because my immune system was so compromised from all of this stress. And and yeah, and I just couldn't cave into just the conventional medicine way of doing things because yeah, I mean, I have a lot of friends who are also physicians, and they're all saying, well, you need to take this and you need to take that and you need to take this. And don't forget to take your antidepressants and don't forget to take Xanax and and I'm like, what is going on? I don't even take Tylenol. What are you guys talking about? I just refuse to cave into that. Um, and it was hard, but I knew deep down it was a lot more than that. And that wasn't for me. It wasn't the answer for me. I needed to get to the root cause of all this. So, so I found a few people who are able to help me transition out of it, take care of the infection in a more natural way. Um, I left the medications as the last resort. I'm not saying that I dismiss medications. I don't actually. And that's the whole concept of the company 80/20 Quantum Care, being that um, if your life is a reflection of your internal world, of what's happening inside of you, then if for the healing to happen, you have to have the inner healing happen first. It's impossible for the healing to appear externally in your life and in your body if it hasn't happened inside first. So the 80/20 came in the sense that I had a mentor who always talked about the 80/20 rule in business, in mindset, in success, um, with 80% of your, of what you do contributing to, how you act and your actions in life. And that's how you get your results. Whereas I thought, well, why not bring the 80/20 rule into health? And what I mean by that is 80% being your internal work and all the internal work, inner work that you have to do, and all the healing that you have to do inside to purge, and 20% being the external strategies like medications and supplements and diet and exercise. So that would be 5% there, 2% here, 3% there. So when I actually did that, I realized how little medications, supplements, external strategies play a role in healing, because the majority of it, the 80%, is actually the inner work that you have to do in order for it to appear externally, because it's all a reflection of you, of what's happening inside. So that's the idea behind the company, and we have different practitioners from different modalities doing the E part for the energy work. And I would be doing a little bit of both, doing the traditional medicine plus some alternative treatments. Because that made a huge difference in my journey and my own healing. And I don't think that will ever end as long as we're in a human body. I do believe that we're a soul having a human experience. And as long as we're in a body, we're always going to be evolving, learning, healing, purging, who knows? Because there's been so much programming imprinted into us from our childhood, from just day one of being in the womb of your mom. You were downloading all these patterns and imprints and programs from them. So anyways, that's me. But for today, I just thought we'd keep it like a casual conversation and talk about a quick hack a simple hack for reversing type 2 diabetes, and also equally for weight gain. A quick hack also for reversing weight gain, just from my own personal experience and from my own studies. Now, in terms of the diabetes part, I know from a lot of the patients that I've had with type 2 diabetes, most of the time when they would come to see me, they would always come to see me for medication refill, because they were already established with a previous doctor, and they were there showing up to see me first visit. I'm here to get my medications, get some lab orders, and that's it. But when I actually would ask them, do you even know why you have diabetes? Most of the time they wouldn't. They have no idea. Their answer would usually be either I don't know, or it's genetic, because my family has it, my mom has it, my dad has it, my grandparents have it, I have it. And that was usually the answer. And to me, that didn't quite sit right, because it's not true. You were not born a diabetic. That's type 1. With type 1, yes, there is a genetic predisposition. So I understand that. But with type 2 diabetes, it's a man-made disease. You were not born with it. You kind of brought it onto yourself from years and years and years of poor eating habits, but it is not your fault either, because of our horrible food industry and the way they've been pumping all these chemicals into our food, into our water, into fast food and all these places. That kind of, geared people the opposite direction into diabetes. So yeah, it is not your fault that you have diabetes, at least type 2, but it is your responsibility to change it. I mean, if you want to, if you're committed to. So that's the way I kind of view it. And remember, with genetic diseases, less than 5% of diseases are genetic. So that means 95% is within your control. Your fate is within your control. And what I mean by 95%, I mean how you live your life. What is your emotional life like? What is your mental life like? What do you think about all day? How do you feel all day? What are you eating? Are you moving? How are your relationships? How are the people surrounding you in your life like? Are you in toxic environments around people? Um, so all of these things contribute, they matter, they formulate the 95% of your fate, and whether or not you're going to turn those good genes off or on, just depending on what you choose. It's just a matter of choice, as simple as that. You either say I choose this or I choose that, because what you tolerate is what you get in life. What you're comfortable with is what you get in life. And it's as simple as that. um, so so the when it came to actually having this conversation with them, some took it well, some were overwhelmed, and some didn't care. So there was always, three categories with my patients, I noticed. But the majority of them cared when they realized that this is something within their control that they can actually reverse and actually do something about. They felt empowered. They felt empowered that their fate is in their own hands. Um, and then after that, um, we would go right into it, right into the whole process of reversing it. Now, I always start with, if you're actually thinking of reversing your type 2 diabetes, the first step is committing to it, making the decision. Your mindset is everything. So, you first thing, go home, sit with it, and make a decision. I am doing this, or I am not good, or I'm not doing this. So it's a commitment. It's a contract with yourself. So you are literally committing and signing this contract with yourself, or whether you're going to do this or not, because you're stamping it into your unconscious mind that I am committing to doing this. And that's everything. That is literally more than 50% of the work. So, and your why do you want to even do this? Why do you even care about reversing your diabetes? So the why is important, because whenever you will have thoughts of, wanting to give up, that's when your why would kick in, right? So your why and your commitment is really, really important. So that's step one. And then step two, I would say, give yourself a deadline. So give yourself a deadline. Let's say you want to reverse it within the next 3 months. You tell yourself, by March 30th, I am no longer a diabetic. You have to give yourself a deadline, a goal, kind of like laser focusing it, not like leaving it up to chance, like, maybe it will happen by March 30th. I will try to make it work by March 3rd. No, there's no trying. That's not a decision. That's leaving it up to chance to do it for you. So be intentional. So this is where you just literally stamp your intention and say, March 30th, I am no longer a diabetic. You make your decision, you put your intention out there, and you go for it. You absolutely go for it. Now, um, this is, I mean, for a lot of people, for a majority of us, this is like, getting out of our comfort zone, right? Because imagine being a diabetic for 25 years and then I come and tell you these things and you'll be like, what the heck? This is huge for a lot of people, because you're literally getting out of your comfort zone, and your body and your mind are going to retaliate and try to suck you back into the old way of doing things. Yeah, when it comes to comfort zone, some of the patients who are able to reverse it, they reversed it. I had a patient who reversed it within a month, and some patients required longer, but it just depends how comfortable you are getting out of your comfort zone. So that, some people really go for it and they get out of their comfort zone and they just do it. But the majority of us, we like to kind of get out of our comfort zone in many steps. So a little bit this month, a little bit next month, a little bit the month prior next. So and that's for that. And then and the last step is actually the diet, right? So it's two simple rules. That's the easiest part, which is the last part. When it comes to the actual diet, two simple rules. Rule number one is what I call the rule of five. Five is your hand, and it's an easy number to remember. So when it comes to um, anything you buy to eat or drink, please look at the label. The label has, mark the ingredients and how much sugar is in that product. So anything you buy to eat or drink, read the label. The sugar and the ingredients on that label should never ever be more than five. So five is your hand. It's an easy number to remember. For example, let's say you're buying bread. You look at the label and you see that it says sugar, I don't know, like 3 grams. And then under ingredients, you see a paragraph of chemicals. So that's a no. You absolutely run away. Because remember, the rule of five has to apply for the sugar and the ingredients, not or and. So the sugar and the ingredients should be five or less. Because to make bread, you literally just need water, flour, yeast, and salt. 4 things. You don't even need 5 things probably. Um, and that's it. That's the first rule. And rule number two is just one meal should have no carbs in it. So I usually recommend when it comes to dinner, no carbs allowed for dinner. You can do your protein, like your steak, your chicken, your fish, your shrimps, with your salad or your veggies. And that's it. Those are the two simple rules that you can apply for just reversing your type 2 diabetes within however time that you want. But one thing, one disclaimer is that if you do decide to do this and you are taking medications, you will notice that your finger stick glucose will start plunging down as you're doing this, which is a great sign. That means your diabetes is starting to reverse, so the medications are too strong for you. So that's when you speak to your doctor to start cutting down on the medications or the dosages until basically to no meds, towards the end, basically.
I have a lot of patients that, they say that they try everything, they're in good diet like you, they exercise, and sometimes they still cannot lose weight. So some other thing that I find that is also that we can look at is hormonal.
Yeah,
Right? Because for men, their testosterone decrease, then
yeah,
they produce more estrogen, and estrogen hold the body fat. And
yeah,
for women, we become estrogen dominant,
yeah.
and that's how we're also holding the body fat.
Yeah, that's
Right.
true.
So we have to also look into hormone. And the one big culprit is stress.
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
people, we're all really stressed out. And what happens when we stress, our body produce cortisol, right? And cortisol elevate your insulin. So then it's all interconnected.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
and
absolutely. Um, and that's when your gut
that's
microbiome
right.
plays a big role, right? Regardless of whether it's hormonal or not, or diabetes or not. But either way, I mean, as long as you're bringing down your sugar levels, you are taking care of the insulin resistance and everything else. But your gut flora plays a major, major role in weight loss. And that was the second thing that we're going to talk about. Um, One of the things that they've noticed in a lot of the research studies was this particular um, bacterial strain called Bifidobacterium breve number 3, which we get from the human breast milk. So breast milk is extremely rich in that particular bacterium. So when we're born, we have a really high levels of this particular bacteria in our gut, which is responsible for fat metabolism and fat loss. Now, as you age, the level of this bacteria starts declining, and they've noticed the microbiome, the gut, all the collection of your gut bacteria between lean people and overweight people differed a lot, but this particular bacteria was a lot higher in lean people. Now, there is a way to bring this level up, even as an adult. And one way that you can rebuild your Bifidobacterium breve, BREVE number 3, one way to, churn it up is through this carbohydrate called HMO, human milk oligosaccharide. Now, the human milk oligosaccharide is what will drive your gut to start producing and manufacturing more of this particular bacteria, Bifidobacterium breve. Now, where do you find HMO? I've found the cleanest source comes from this company called Pure. It's called Pure HMO. They also have it in all baby formulas, but I find a lot of the baby formulas also have a lot of these toxins and chemicals and hydrogenated oils, which I didn't like. Whereas this company actually makes the fermented version of HMO. It's obviously, they're not giving you breast milk, they're giving you this fermented version of the same sugar that's in the human breast milk. But believe it or not, there are people out there who actually buy human breast milk just to do this. So so this is something that you would do. For example, I did this protocol for probably a month because of the hormonal imbalances I was having from my adrenal issues. And I mean, it works, guys. I mean, I lost a lot of weight. And it was a bit too much, actually. I had to stop it. I was like, wait a minute, I need to gain some weight back. But I would say usually this protocol, you would take it, you could do it for 20 days or so. And with the HMO, if you want to accelerate it even more, the other two things that you can add to this protocol is apple skins, believe it or not, or apple peel powder, because it drives the other bacterium called Akkermansia, which Sutita will probably tell you a little bit about. Akkermansia. And you can add that into your smoothies. And the third thing that you could add to accelerate it with the HMO even more is a red powder from this company called Organifi. Now, this red powder is full of all the red phenols, all the red fruits, including beets. That also drives Akkermansia and Bifidobacterium production in your gut. And that will also accelerate the weight loss process. It's a really, really good, quick and simple hack. But if you want to just do the HMO on its own, you absolutely can. I tried both ways, and it works both ways because you're building up your bifidobacterium. Now you can do this again like after Christmas, after Thanksgiving, for 7 days. Do the HMO again for 7 days, build up your bifidobacterium, levels, and then you kind of leave it alone. So after the holidays, a lot of people feel guilt and with the weight, so it's always a nice one to have in your toolbox.
Sometimes that we balance the gut by using a pre or probiotic. We want to make sure that you have Acumensia, who is a gut microbiome, the beneficial gut microbiome that help kind of like get your help with the insulin level to be balanced.
Mm-hmm.
And that is one of the things that once you find that you're able to balance your blood sugar, your gut microbiome is settled down, your brain fog, your anxiety, all that's gonna kind of settle.
Mm-hmm.
One other herb that I also use for helping with blood sugar is berberine.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, berberine is been really, it's kind of like metformin, but it's a plant-based medicine that does not have all these side effects like metformin does. So metformin will rob you from your B12 and B6, and then you end up with neuropathy. With berberine, it's natural bark root of the plants, and you take it twice a day, 500 milligram twice a day. And I would say within a month, you see your A1C and also your cholesterol and triglyceride that coming down from taking berberine.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, definitely berberine, moringa, those two really work for bringing the sugar levels down. But I just saw that somebody had a question about the safety of the protocol. Well, I mean, it's all food, right? So it's quite safe because, like I said, HMO is in baby formula, right? It comes from breast milk. It's a sugar that comes from breast milk. And I just didn't recommend it from baby formula because it has a lot of other chemicals in the baby formula and super high in sugar. Whereas if you just get it for the fermented version from this company, that's all it is. And apple peel powder or apple skin is just food. And the other thing that I said was the red phenol powder, which is just a collection of red beets, raspberries, I think the other one was goji berries or elderberries, some other berries in there from the company Organifi. So it's quite safe because it's all food based to heal your gut and accelerate the production of this particular bacteria responsible for for fat loss and fat metabolism, which declines with age as we get older. So you're just rebuilding it. Now I've taken just the probiotic for it, the probiotic of just the Bifidobacterium brev. I didn't like it. It just didn't settle well in my stomach. I was having some issues with it, so it didn't work for me. I love the HMO. It was just super easy. It was gentle on my system. I didn't have any issues with it.
So another thing that I can point out that when you go to your doctor and have them look at your lab, conventional always getting A1C and your fasting glucose. Another thing that I also look at is fasting insulin.
Mm.
It's going to tell you that are you heading to insulin resistant couple of years even before your A1C elevated.
Okay, yeah, we definitely never check for that in conventional medicine.
Yeah.
That's a great way of looking at it. Absolutely.
How do we find you if someone wants to get in touch with you?
You can find me either at goodlivinghealth.com or 8020quantumcare.com.